Joining us now is South African journalist and editor Dianne Hawker. Hi, good evening, Dianne. Thanks for joining us in NC Continental Prime.
Good evening, Benga, and good evening to the viewers.
Now, jobs. South Africa is currently sitting with a 46.6 unemployment rate. Did the President, Cyril Ramaphosa, offer any solution on this in a State of the Union address?
Well, it seems like he was trying to offer some solutions, but the approach was a bit unexpected. He said that government doesn't actually create jobs, which is quite different from what the ANC and government has said before. And he actually said something that we've heard often from the opposition benches, that government needs to create the environment for businesses to create jobs. And much of his focus in his speech was about what that environment actually needs. One of the things that he mentioned is that government plans to have someone in the presidency who will focus on looking at red tape for small businesses so that small businesses are able to actually move quicker. It's one of the complaints that a lot of small business operators have complained about, that it's too difficult to set up a business. The taxation issues are very difficult. Sometimes in different municipalities, there are also constraints on small business owners about where they can do business. And the suggestion is that this red tape cutter would actually focus on these issues. It's quite an unusual proposal from the president because there's an entire government department that is focused on small business. So to have someone in his presidency, while there is a department that focuses on this issue, is quite unusual, but perhaps he believes that this will bring results that the Department of a Small Business hasn't been able to. And he also touched on new industries, for example, talking about the hemp industry as a possible growth area. It's something that the hemp growers in South Africa have been complaining about, that there's too much regulation and unclear policy. So hopefully we will see some clarity on what will change with regards to that.
Now, of course, it can't be a State of the Union address without addressing the elephant in the room and talking about load shedding. Eskom electricity supply has been a big issue in South Africa. How's the government going to resolve this concern?
Well, I found it interesting that we didn't hear a concrete commitment to provide more funding to Eskom. Instead, there was a focus on renewable energy. The president also mentioned that there would be an unbundling of Eskom. But to be quite honest, that's not a new proposal. We heard about the unbundling of Eskom possibly in 2018 or 19. So it's been something that's been on the table for some time now. The renewable energy issue has also been something that's been ongoing. But if you hear from the Eskom leadership, one of the things that they've been saying is that their main issue is funding. And perhaps the finance minister, when he delivers his budget in 2 weeks' time, will touch on that, because quite frankly, that's the one issue that is outstanding, the issue of whether there is more money available for Eskom to resolve its issues.
Now, there was a clarion call by President Cyril Ramaphosa for South Africans to buy local brands, and he mentioned revitalizing the local manufacturing industry. What about that?
Well, I think this was an important point for him to mention, but it will also be quite a difficult one to implement. As we all know, the Chinese market has been very difficult for African businesses to compete with. South African manufacturing industries have historically focused on things like textiles, for example, which was an area that the Chinese industries have really completely garnered as a market. So, to revitalize something like the textile industry and to compete with a country like China, which has a 1.4 billion population, will be a very difficult one, even if all South Africans buy local. There are only 52 million, maybe 54 million South Africans. So it's a significant difference. I think what would have to happen, and what we haven't heard much detail on, is perhaps for the South African economy to branch out into different sectors of manufacturing. One of the issues that we often talk about, what we haven't seen action on in South Africa, is beneficiation of the minerals industry. So instead of us just extracting minerals, also creating the goods that come from those minerals. And that's the kind of manufacturing that perhaps would be very beneficial, considering that we have those minerals in South Africa.
Dianne, since the start of the year, President Cyril Ramaphosa has received 2 volumes of the Zondo Commission and Inquiry into State Capture. What did he have to say, what did the President have to say about it in his State of the Nation address this evening?
Well, he spoke about that by June this year, that he will deliver a comprehensive plan as to how government is going to deal with the issues raised in the state capture report. He also mentioned that government will be speaking to the judiciary about creating some specialized courts to deal with these state capture related prosecutions. We know that the National Prosecuting Authority has already said that it will create some special or will create a task team that looks at the state capture related crimes. And I suppose the court process is the next step in that, to make sure that these cases are finalized swiftly. But of course, there are other issues like reforms within government departments, ensuring that processes and procurement in government work properly. Those are the kind of things that will need to be addressed by June, as the president promised.
Thank you very much, Dianne, for your insights as always.
Thank you.